So this is maybe my favorite thing to talk about, because the people who are here today, the students, the families, you are awesome rock stars. And the reason you are awesome rock stars is because you are interested in being trailblazers. So what does that mean? Like, who are these people, these amazing trailblazers? You're excited, maybe a little nervous, because, like, let's be realistic, new things can be a little nerve-wracking, but mostly excited about trying something new. You, as a student and a family coming into a new institution, are interested in helping us build our community, our culture, and our traditions. At some meeting, at some point, I had a family ask about, like, will you have homecoming? And I'm like, well, maybe we'll have homecoming, or maybe Hatch students don't want homecoming. Maybe they want something else. And you get to decide what that something else is. That's pretty awesome, I think. You understand that not everything works the way we think it will the first time out of the gate. That is true of almost everything in life. And it is certainly true of even established schools. But I can tell you right now, like, in a new school, we think some things are going to happen one way and maybe they'll happen some other way. And that's cool. And that's life. You're okay with some ambiguity. There are certain things that, like, we just don't have answers for yet. We will have answers when they're necessary and needed, but we don't have, the next 10 years mapped out in excruciating detail. And then last but not least, to be a trailblazer, like, just the word itself means that you are someone who is looking for a different path, maybe a different opportunity and a new adventure. And that's what this is about. So a little bit about the curriculum for ninth graders. So you will take a standard core curriculum as ninth graders, in part to help us welcome you into the community and also to give you a way to really establish your time at Hatch. So it may be that we read the novel Persepolis as part of a class on identity, conflict, and resistance. And through that exploration in that course, you are looking at your own identity and having discussions about, both in literature and in the world, what happens when individual or group identities come into conflict, right? That is something that happens all the time. Open any newspaper. What does that mean? You'll take a class that is biology and health combined, and that will be, some biology content, basic sort of ninth grade, and also health topics such as how to deal with stress. What does it mean to establish consent in relationships? How can you be healthy and balanced? All of that will come into that life core class. DigiCore, that will be the individualized math program, which Sarah can talk to you about for hours. She loves it, along with a computational thinking course. Those will be combined in various ways. The world language we offer is Spanish. You will do that in groups based on your Spanish level, but it will be paired with a class in the history and culture of the Spanish-speaking world. So not just about language, but also about, how this works in the world. And then last but not least, that last block of the day is the time where we will have your elective blocks. So that'll be arts, PE, athletics, and supported study. And in any given trimester, you can mix and match various pieces of this. So if you're on a sports team, you will do sports team at the end of the day. If you're not, you could combine maybe 3 days of an art class with 2 days of PE, or supported study for 2 days and PE for 3 days. There's a lot of flexibility in that. And additionally, if you are a student who plays a sport out that is not one of the ones we offer at Hatch, we can help you figure out how to get credit for what you do outside of school. So for instance, if you're a hockey player, you can get PE credit for your hockey commitments. And if you want to play a team sport that Hatch doesn't offer, you are also in Washington State allowed to play for whatever your reference high school would be. So if you live in Ballard and you are a golfer, you could play golf on the Ballard High School team. Although I don't know if Ballard actually has a high school golf team. I'm just making that up, but you get what I mean. Okay, so what would a typical day look like for a 9th grader at Hatch? So you'd come to school by 8:40 in the morning. The building will be open earlier so that whatever your transit needs are, you can meet them, but classes will start at 8:40. You may have a discussion in your humanities class about, for instance, Persepolis, or about, some global conflict that you might be talking about in the social studies part. Then you'll go to biology. And an example of something you might do in biology is looking at microscope slides and comparing cancerous and non-cancerous cells, and then coming up with some treatment options for whoever your patient is. As I said earlier, hands-on science is my real love as a teacher. And so I could talk to you all day about all the fun things we can do in biology. Lunchtime, you'll hang out with your buddies in the community gathering space, eat your lunch, decompress, chillax, all those things. Then maybe you'll go to advisory. Advisory is a place for you to build community, support one another, celebrate things, troubleshoot issues, maybe figure out how you want to talk with a teacher about something that's going on in class. All of that happens in advisory. And your advisor is your primary contact person between home and school. So it's the adult on campus that you can always go to with whatever is up with you. Then maybe you'll go to an activism team meeting. And this is the place where maybe you and a couple of your buddies are working on a project to address some civic or social issue. So you'll work together, you'll do some research, you'll design a plan for what you want to do out in the community, and then you can talk about how you're going to present that in the group community gathering that we have next week. So you've done your background research, and now you've got your call to action to get your peers on board and volunteer out in the world. Then maybe you go to individualized math, where you will be working on some unit of study or choosing the work at the end of that unit that you're going to use to demonstrate that you have mastered the content. And you'll put together that little portfolio of stuff and get ready to submit it to your math teacher for feedback and assessment. At the end of the day, maybe you need a little help in Spanish. We have office hours built in so that you can get extra help without having to give up your lunch, which is never a good thing. Like, lunch should be lunch, and we should honor the fact that everybody needs downtime and needs to eat. So we have built in ways for you to get some help there. And then maybe you're in yoga for PE that trimester. So then you'll go do some yoga, decompress a little bit, meet your PE requirements, and spend some time being mindful of the world. And then by 4:15, depending on how your athletic commitments roll out, you're on the bus and headed home. So that is sort of a typical day in the life for what might be happening for students at Hatch.